Welcome to Speedcubing 101. I hope you are keeping well. And yes, it's like my tradition now to apologize for the long delays in publishing episodes here on Speedcubing 101. Our last couple of episodes were recaps of Worlds. We had Tingman in episode 18 and Alyssa Esperez in episode 19. This episode is not so much a recap so much as it is a behind-the-scenes look at what it was like organizing Worlds 2025, things that went well, things that did not. I'll give you a heads up now that there were 4 days, 4 action-packed days for Worlds 2025. And so this is the 3rd episode related to the Rubik's World Championship 2025. I will have one more. So 4 days of competition, 4 episodes to cover not everything, but it will capture some of the key voices. Again, not all of them, but some of them. So we can listen now, but also in the future and reminisce about a special moment in time in the Speedcubing community. Today, I have 2 members of the Worlds 2025 organization team. They are Shelley Chang and Vincent Sheu. Shelley is the executive director for Cubing USA, and you're going to hear part of her history with cubing competitions and part of what Cubing USA does and part of what Cubing USA wants to do. As you're listening to this episode, if you have any questions, you can email them info@cubingusa.org. So yes, you have my permission at any time during this episode. Pause the episode and send Cubing USA an email. Their email address is info@cubingusa.org. It will be in the show notes. Just remember to come back to the episode after you've emailed them. My other guest on today's episode is Vincent Sheu. He is the general counsel for Cubing USA. And toward the end of the episode, you'll hear him start a new topic of conversation that you can just tell Shelley and Vincent are so fond of. I won't hold you in suspense. It's mystery puzzles, and you'll hear them go through some of the mystery puzzles that were in the early competitions in the United States. Thank you again for your patience waiting for new episodes. And to those who have been interviewed for Speedcubing 101 and your episode has not published yet, there is one more Worlds related episode, and then I will be publishing my whole backlog. So thank you for your patience, and thank you to everyone also who has suggested guests for this podcast. I will get to them after I've published the ones that haven't been released yet. Thank you for your time today, and I'll see you on the other side. What impact do you think this Rubik's 2025 World Championship had on the global cubing community, where it is now? And yeah, what impact do you think it had?
How large was the previous largest competition?
I believe it was Worlds 2023.
Okay.
1,187.
Okay, so we're looking at like a 60% increase on what's possible. Yeah, I think that any world championship is always going to be special because you just have like competitors who see competitors they've never seen before. I've never seen the demand for autographs from competitors from around the world the same way people lined up for seeing Felix, Max, Yiheng give autographs at the WCA booth. The cultural exchange, I think, is really special. Just seeing how other people both have national pride, but are also willing to just go out and just meet new people that they otherwise never would meet. I think that this competition probably set a new standard in streaming quality. And shout out to Happy Feet for putting on the most professional looking stream I think we've ever had to date. And I don't know if it's particularly close. Like, that was a lot of people who were watching on the stream. And I watched it and it was like, it was very good. So I think that streaming is probably a great way for this sport to grow, even if you can't make it to Worlds. Worlds is not always going to be in the US every year or anywhere near the US every year for the US community. And when it's in, let's say, Sweden, like, I certainly want people from Australia to be able to feel like they're a part of something really big as well. From an organizational standpoint, I think there's probably a lot of lessons that we're passing on to in our report that I think will help a lot of different sized competition teams learn from where we did things correctly and also where we think we could have done things a little bit better. And so hopefully that'll also be some sort of lasting legacy that we pass on.
So just by being like the biggest competition today, we've pushed the limits of how big a competition can be. And still be professionally organized and mostly running on time. With little asterisks.
Yeah.
I think this year it got messed up because
That's true.
you
If we didn't have the
it was
walls, we
a
would have been on
new
time.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your microphone speaker.
Yeah.
ish-
We couldn't really
You
plan
can't
for
control.
things unexpectedly breaking.
Yeah, that wasn't even us, by the way. That was like the convention center's sound system actually like dying overnight.
Yeah.
Yes, and then they didn't have the staff on site because it was 4th of July, so it's
Exactly.
a holiday. So
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I think that was really nice about this one. Like, I think we didn't just view this competition as like come for 4 days to cube. It was like a get to know the area. Like you could have gone to see 4th of July fireworks on July 4th. Like you could have gone to a baseball game the week before. Like it was the introduction to playing tourist as a part of the competition. And I hope that I get to play tourist in Sweden in 2 years.
So are there a lot of post-comp, post-worlds tasks? How are things going with that?
Pretty good. I think, at least for my part, most of the after post-competition business has been mostly taken care of and wrapped up. I know there might be still a few things left. I think we're still working on getting the prize money out, actually. But there's other people working on that.
It's a lot of prize money, actually.
Yeah, it turns out there's a lot of like tax paperwork that you also have to do when you're handing people that much money too. The fact that people are also coming in from around the world, and so you're trying to figure out how to pay people around the world is an extra complication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think previously, when we've run the North American champs and U.S. nationals, the cubicle has always provided the prize money, and I think they were giving it to the winners directly and also gathering all that tax information and everything. So this is the first year that we've had to do it, so we're trying to figure things out.
Mhm.
And like the added complication of, all the international winners and everything. So
Okay, so to all the winners of the 2025 Rubik's World Championship, these are the people you need to tap on the shoulder.
We're working on it. It is something that we actively worry about. So don't worry, you haven't been forgotten.
Tell me, because this was at the Seattle Convention Center, 4 days, full competition. You're all volunteers, the whole team. Why did you want to do this again? Why did you want to organize Worlds?
we've been doing this for a while. Most of us are basically the majors organizing team from Cubing USA. We've had, some members leave and some new members come on, but like kind of the core team has been together for over 10 years now.
Shelley, when did you join the Nets organizing team? It was at least 2009, right? Or 8 or something like that.
I was definitely involved in 7.
Okay. Yeah, really, really early.
Or no, 2006 Exploratorium, I was involved there too. 2005 did not have a nationals. 2004 nationals, I was a competitor. I did my 3 solves and I was like, I'm bored. Can I help? So I just started judging and scrambling and stuff.
So, Shelley, are you the OG or who else is an OG?
I guess I'm definitely the one who's been around the longest. The team was led by Tyson Mao for a while. He was one of the co-founders of WCA and started like the modern competitive cubing scene in the US, or certainly on the West Coast at least. And we went to school together, so we were part of the Rubik's Cube Club, and we were organizing most of the early competitions in California. So that's how it started. In 2004, he was like, hey, let's run a big competition, advertise it online, because, it was the online community at the time. We'll just call it US Nationals. And we did it in like the lecture hall at Caltech, the lecture hall where we had Math 1A, the first year math class, probably the biggest lecture hall on campus. And I think we got 50 people show up from all over the world, actually. And yeah, that's how it started. And then when Rubik's ran their world championship in 2005, so this is actually the 3rd world championship on US soil. The first one was in 2005 in Orlando, Florida. And they flew the Rubik's Cube Club out there to help run it, help do all the judging and scrambling, because at the time, we were like the team who had the most experience in running competitions. It was nice. We got a free trip out to Florida, and that was my first World Championships.
Wow.
Yeah, so Shelley predates me by a couple of years. I didn't join the Nationals organizing team until 2009. That was at Stanford for US Nationals. Before that, I had just started at Cal, and I was helping teach the Rubik's Cube decal, which is like a class that you can take for credit at Cal where, it's Math 99 and we just teach you to solve a Rubik's Cube. I'd started also helping run competitions there with Dan Zwan and Jeremy Fleischman and that team. And so at some point, I think Tyson was just like, hey, do you want to come help out? And so I did and helped organize in basically every single year, including the Worlds in Las Vegas in, I think it was 2013, right?
2013.
Yeah. But actually, I took a long break though, because like after the Hilton Head Nationals, that was my last competition until this competition. So it was really interesting to see where things were back then and then come back and basically be like, oh, I am old.
But like Vincent's been really helpful in the intervening years because he's our
legal person.
Yeah, the legal person on the Cubing USA board.
Got it. We always need one of those. Do you have your own list of things you would do differently for next time?
Make sure all the things that went wrong don't go wrong. I think that the spectator thing was an interesting one because we based that model off of how previous competitions had gone.
Our previous competition was just our last one, like the North American champs last year.
The Minnesota?
That was the first time we actually had to sell tickets for spectators. So we based the demand on what we saw there. And last year we were still selling tickets at the door. So we thought we were going to still be able to do it at this competition. And then we're looking at our sales numbers and we're like, we might be filling up. So
might be.
Yes. Turns out that a lot of people were looking for them at the last moment. Part of the reason we even did the spectator tickets was because the convention center actually had a really strict cap on attendance in the room. And I don't know if you noticed, but there were actually always stationed security at the door, making sure every single person had a badge to go in. And if you didn't have a badge, they actually would not let you in.
Just like when my son forgot his and I had to go.
Yes. Yes, I think we would handle spectators a little bit differently next time. We actually had 2 staff hotels and competition hotels. We had both the Sheraton and the Hyatt Regency. I think both were solid hotels. I would love to have everybody at the same place next time. This was actually an impossibility for us this time, just because I think we sold out multiple hotels in the area.
It really is difficult to find the venues that are affordable and accessible and available. And
yeah, part of the issue there is that we are now, for the longest time, we could actually hold these at universities, right? Like 2009 Nationals was at Stanford, 2010 or 11 was at Ohio State. We can't.
2010 was at MIT.
2010 MIT.
It was just an auditorium. We didn't have the big open seating area with tables that we have now. We just had an auditorium seating and like somehow everybody was just sitting in
like theater style seating, basically. Yeah, we are now at the point where we cannot do that anymore. There's just, cubing has grown, right? And people come to our competition expecting a certain level of experience as well. And so we've hit the point where we start doing convention centers now. But then that also means that convention centers typically are trying to book really large events. Like when it comes to a convention center, we're like a small, medium-sized event. And so finding convention centers that both will take a bit of our size at the time we need to, and also be priced at a point that we can actually feasibly run a competition there has been actually proved to be somewhat challenging, I think, as we continue to grow.
Yes. Convention centers are expensive to book. And as we mentioned earlier, their Wi-Fi is expensive.
Absolutely.
For them to literally flip the switch.
And you can't
to turn it on.
Your audio video is completely dependent on them. Everything is dependent on them too. So it's not just like the booking fee, it's everything else. Shelley, can we say this? Cubing USA is actually taking a fairly significant loss on Worlds.
Yeah. I guess it's not a secret because we have to publish our financials every year. So I'm sure it's fine to say that.
So you're saying with $120 registration fee
and spectator passes and all of our sponsorships that we're still taking a significant loss on this.
And how do you make that up?
We had some reserves that we dipped into specifically for. I think this is a really special event, and we absolutely would have done it again. But I certainly hope we threw an event that was worthy of the increasing cost of what it costs to go to a competition of this scale. I think a similar industry level event, like if you're just doing a professional sort of thing, would be easily hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars. And I hope everybody got a good thing out of it. We are conscious of the rising costs, and we will do our very best to keep that down as much as we can.
Yeah. But when you consider $120, this is for a 4-day event with like other sports, other events. you'd be paying more than that for just a single day.
And that doesn't mean you're booking it for 4 days. You have to book it for more than that to do the set and the takedown and the cleanup. So a 4-day competition, 2,000 competitors from around the world, the largest competition in history. How were the logistics for this?
A logistical nightmare, but I'm really proud that we pulled it off.
Yeah, it was a logistical nightmare, but overall, I think it was a big success.
So tell me about this logistical nightmare.
A lot of this is going to be basically what we were worrying about behind the scenes. I actually have no idea how much of it filtered out into the regular discourse. It ranged from things like the fact that we had the spectator tickets that sold out and we had to scramble to basically redo the entire floor plan like a week or two before the actual event, to figuring out things like, oh, now that we have a stage marquee like that, those red and blue walls behind the stage that looked really nice on screen, those actually really affected how we ran the competition, because they basically meant that you couldn't see which timers were open when you were running. And so we consistently had to deal with 2 stages that were behind and try to figure out what the best way was to dealing with that. I think mics went out, like the sound system died on the first day, and so we had to come up with an alternate solution for that. There were just all sorts of things like all over the place.
Yeah, on top of this just being the biggest competition in the world so far, there's just a lot of things that we're just like scaling up what we know how to do and just like hoping it would scale to a much bigger competition. And I think with the way it was laid out, with the main stage in one room and the side stages in another, and like the side stage room, that's just like a big majors competition by itself. And it just felt like multiple large competitions that all happened to be in the same place rather than one big one. But I guess that's how we had to run it.
Would you be able to do it in a big, you'd have to have a arena or stadium to have it all in the same?
Yeah, I don't think a basketball arena would even work. Like, it would have to be a football stadium. We essentially had, how many stages do we have, Shelley? Like 10? And each of those essentially functioned as its own modular competition in and of itself.
Yes.
And we were really fortunate that we had an amazing crew of volunteers, like, who were incredibly experienced, who came from around the world, all of whom were used to running competitions by themselves, because it really meant that we could throw a team at a stage and just know that it would be done competently, on time, and like professionally. So I really have to shout out the volunteers for enabling us to be able to do it this way. I think if you were to do it in a stadium, you could probably do the exact same thing. You would just only be limited by how much space you actually had on the floor.
Communication is like one of our biggest challenges with a competition this big, because it's just hard to be able to get a message from like the main stage or like the data entry center over to the side stages. We had the Discord, but not everybody had reception or
the Wi-Fi did not work, and so we had to ditch Discord as a communications method quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yes, although I understand that Wi-Fi is extremely expensive.
Yeah, which is typical for big convention centers like this. This is something we've run into at other venues as well.
Like, Shelley, remember how we had that giant banner in the atrium that was like pointing to the wrong place for 3 days?
Oh, yeah. That was because we had to change our layout at the last minute, and I guess nobody thought to place all the banners at a different place where it would actually make sense.
Yeah, so Shelley designed this beautiful 20-foot tall banner that basically said WCA World Championships, registration is here. You saw it if like you came up the escalator and looked left through the glass doors into that atrium area, even though registration ended up being somewhere else. And that's actually because that was the original direction to registration. Like, the side stage room was supposed to be our main stage room. And there were all sorts of other things that we had moved around. I think the side stage was actually supposed to be on the 6th floor where check-in ended up being. Like, those were all the last minute changes that we made just to accommodate and get more spectators in the door.
Wow. So originally it was going to be 10 stages on the 4th floor and the 6th floor?
I think so, yeah. Like, the side stages were originally on a different floor. And then we got all the additional space that ended up being where the main stages were.
Yeah, so that giant check-in area where everybody waited in line to get their name tags, I think that was supposed to be the space for the side stage. And then the main stage would have been where the side stage ended up being. Part of the reason we did this was because we thought that glass atrium was like just really nice to hang out in.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, there's a little waterfall. We hid all the 3x3 finalist competitors underneath the waterfall so they couldn't hear anything. That's probably a behind the scenes moment that nobody else saw. One of the things we've always done for 3x3 finals is we've done the kind of this like one-on-one style that you see. But as a consequence of that, like you really need to keep information about how people have done separate from the competitors who have yet to go. So that means you can't even have them hear like crowd noise, because if they hear the crowd noise, they'll know that something good
Like that
happened.
gets information about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we actually had them sequestered like a good 5-minute plus walk away from the main stage. You have to go back across that arch bridge, through the side stage room, through the atrium, underneath the waterfall, into this like small room underneath the waterfall where they were practicing. And so if you were there, then you just saw a bunch of competitors there, and every so often 2 people would leave until eventually there was only 2 left, and that was Sheu and Yihang.
And they get an escort.
Yes,
of course.
we walked them
Right.
all the way over, and every single time we wondered, why did we do it so far away?
Because it's the World Championships and you have to make room.
Yes.
And didn't you also have certificates for everyone? And then USPS didn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of them got lost in the mail. And we're like,
really sorry
well,
about that.
we only got a quarter of them, and we can't just give only a quarter of people their certificate and give nothing to everybody else.
So
Yeah.
sorry, everyone.
Sorry about that.
They did their best. Take me into some of your highlights. What are some of the moments that you will always remember?
So I remember at one point, like I was standing on the side of the main stage during one of the finals, and I just took a selfie with the crowd and seeing how amped up they were. And I was like, wow, we actually did this. This is really cool. And I think part of that is because like people showed up, people came. It seems like they had a great time. There were some really exciting solves. The format, I think, worked out really well with regards to like the finals at the end of each day. But mostly, I think this is also to the fact that like the community is very strong and positive, right? Like you can really put any amount of cubers into a room, and it's not like other communities where there will be some friction between these people and that people. No, you really can pretty much walk up to anybody and just start a conversation with them. And it'll be like a nice, positive, warm conversation. And so, you know, when things don't go quite right on our end, like I think for the most part, most people are really understanding and supportive and helpful. And that just leads to a really nice community that people all feel like they're a part of, especially when you're sitting and watching Yihang and Sheu go at it. One thing we started doing at the help desk was we had these posters that we had printed that were for sale. And I noticed that people were going around getting different people to sign their cubes and their posters and things like that. So what we started doing was having every single person who came by the help desk sign our poster, and we called it the People's Poster. And I loved doing this because normally when you go around like a convention like this, if you're quote unquote good, lots of people will ask you to sign their poster. Max will sign lots of things. But if you're like for lack of a better term, like a garden variety competitor like me, or actually, I'm not even garden variety, I'm slow now. But yeah, if you're a normal competitor, you just don't get that kind of attention very much. And so we wanted to give basically every single person the chance to feel like, hey, I'm contributing to something. And it actually turned into something really special because we ended up with these posters that basically had people from around the world signing them. And so
Yeah, we asked them to write where they're from next to their name and everything.
Yeah, so at the end of the competition, we had a couple left over. So I ended up giving 2 to the world champion and telling them this is from the people of the world. And that was a really nice bit of cultural exchange because I remember they just were like looking at it and then like looking at all the places and being like, oh, that's from that place and that's from that place. And that was just really cool to see.
Is this a new tradition now?
It could be.
For Worlds?
I hope so.
Yeah. Yes. Shelley, a moment that stands out for you?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be chosen to judge some of the 3x3 final solve, and I'm at the front desk for most of the competition, so this is my first time, and this is during 3x3 final, so all the audience seating is filled, and just seeing that is wow, that's amazing. We did this, and that was just a really cool sight to see. And also, I guess a highlight for me at every such competition, but especially at Worlds, is seeing all the people that I only get to see at these competitions. I've met a lot of people all over the world through cubing, And it's just great saying hi to them and catching up with them. We did our traditional picture. There's a couple of people. It's Jasmine Lee, Ron Van Brookum, Chris Hardwick. So they have been to every World Championship since 2003. And recently they started including me because I've been to every World Championship since 2005 and I'm the only person in that group. So they just include me in that. We take a group photo at every Worlds.
And that person on the left there has the Rubik's kicks. I see.
Yes, that's Ron. Ron is the other co-founder along with Tyson of the WCA.
Yeah.
Oh. And Tyson was not at World?
Tyson held a watch party at his house for the Bay Area community to watch World's finals.
Yeah, it was funny because he invited us and we're like, we're going to be there.
We have to be there, not we're going to be. Oh. And is Tyson still involved?
Not anymore. I think he basically retired after the 2013 Worlds, which was like the last competition that he organized. And he's busy raising his family now.
And working on his company.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so a little busy.
Yes.
Ron was present and competing and
I think
not much more than that.
Ron's goal right now is to go around to all the competitions in all the countries and take a haircut picture in every single country.
Like at the barber?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding about that. That's literally what he does. It's really cool.
He's also visited every castle in like, the Netherlands or something.
He's Dutch.
He does a lot of travel things. But yeah, early on he was basically in charge of the WCA. Before we had all these committees and everything, sometimes he would just be like, regulations are changing. These are the things I've decided it will be.
Can you tell me for everyone, because most people don't know this, what does Cubing USA do and who's on Cubing USA and what are your roles for these championships?
So I'm actually the executive director of Cubing USA, mostly because I've been here the longest. The organizing team is actually like its own committee that does have most of the Cubing USA board on it, but it's not a one-to-one thing. So we have Tim Reynolds, of course, is in charge of all the scheduling, all the software, and pretty much like how the competition is actually running day of.
Tim is the key person.
Yeah, if I don't know
correct?
something and I don't know
Pretty
who to
much.
go to, I go to Tim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Michael, who goes by Not Kevin.
Long story.
Yeah. Not Kevin Young, he is our treasurer and he handles the budget and all the money that's involved. Walker Welch was mostly in charge of the staff experience, not only vetting all the staff and everything, but he's also in charge of getting the t-shirts out, making sure everybody has lunch and gathering all the information about like dietary restrictions and everything. That was all him. Zach Garber was our PR. He does the social media. He answers a lot of the emails and in charge of the public communication. We had Kian Berry at the competition. He was the MC and main announcer. Before the competition, he did a lot of the sponsor negotiations. So that's how we have our working relationship with our different sponsors. Kevin Hayes was in charge of the streaming team. And yeah, live streaming is a new thing for me. I didn't pay much attention to it until the last few years. And the live streams of these big competitions are really good. Sometimes watching them is almost a better experience than like watching in person because you can actually see what's going on. James Hildreth was our main venue contact. He was like in charge of communicating with the people from the venue, figuring out the actual layout and communicating it to them so that they could help us set it up. Stephen Griggs did a lot of he was basically our quartermaster, making sure we have all the equipment that's necessary for running a competition and just like being in charge of the big spreadsheet that tracks all of it. Jacob Ambrose also did some of the staff vetting, I think. Matthew Dickman did a lot of the competitor experience stuff. He ran the unofficial events and everything, and also was in charge of getting like all the competitor swag. I think that's everyone. And then there's Vincent, who is our legal counsel, and also he did
I handled legal and
figured out
hotels.
the hotels and yeah. And I did a lot of the design and printing and all the banners and everything.
Yep, definitely a team effort. What wishes do you have for future major championships?
I definitely hope that they can still be setting for open like cultural and informational exchange because that is very valuable in our community.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, I think that as cubing has grown, that the stars of cubing are starting to receive attention to the point that like they're starting to be treated like mini celebrities in a way. And so accounting for that, I think is
Mini?
okay, maybe not many. Like some of them are like you'll see people like chase people across the hall to get their picture or something. And so I think that's just something that future championships will definitely have to handle. I actually ended up spending most of my weekend running some sort of like celebrity handler status, and that actually meant I missed every single like staff photo, which made me a little sad.
Yeah, this whole celebrity culture is pretty new because when I started, it was definitely not like this. Like people knew who the fast people were, and there's definitely respect for them and everything, but there wasn't this kind of
Like waiting in line for
Mania?
3 hours to get a signature
yeah,
sort of
like
deal.
waiting in line for an autograph. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
You guys sound so.
I do hope that because like I think one thing that comes with celebrity culture oftentimes is like monetization of that. And so I hope like cubing in many ways has maintained a somewhat of a purity of spirit in some ways. And so I just hope that people continue to feel, welcome to talk to most people every single major event, no matter who they are.
There's definitely people who are charging for like cubing lessons and online courses now, which is also weird to me, but it also makes sense because
Yeah, if there's a demand for it.
if that's what you're good at
Mhm.
and there's a market of people willing to pay, then fair play to them for monetizing that. Mm. It just feels very weird to me because at the beginning of the whole cubing scene, everybody was just sharing information freely online.
Mhm.
So
Some of those people who shared early
Yeah.
information are actually like giants in like their fields that they've chosen to pursue them now. Like you would never expect it, but think like heads of AI at like major companies and things like that.
Really? Do you tell or do you not want to tell?
I will leave this one to Shelley.
I know like Dan Knights was a really big figure online for a while. And I got to meet him when I delegated like the first couple of competitions in Colorado. And he was a student then. I think he's like a professor at the University of Minnesota now, which I didn't realize when I went to Minnesota last year. I should have dropped him a line. But yeah, he does research in data science and machine learning or something like that now. He's a really smart guy.
So now that you're mostly recovered, by the way, do you two still cube at home? Practice at all?
I'm slow.
Not really, although I bought a 7x7 at the cubicle at the competition and it actually turns really well. So I've
Yeah.
been like solving the 7x7. My goal
Kevin
is to
Hayes will
like
be very happy for you.
get under stack map. I'm very slow. I think I'm at 12 minutes now.
And Vincent, when you say slow, what does that mean?
In the last 2 competitions I have been to, I have had a random kid watch me solve and be like, why is your algorithm so old?
Now that's a smart kid to recognize that.
Yeah, because most of my algorithms are from like the mid 2000s. So they are unoptimized. I'm slow compared to kids these days. And that is.
But I get lots of fun comments. Like I always get comments like, is that cross on left? Or what is that Z perm?
Oh, interesting. This is too deep for me. I don't know.
Shelley doesn't put her cross on the bottom when she solves. She puts it on the left.
Yes, because when I learned, I solved cross on top because there was nothing that told me I should do anything otherwise. So when I realized, I should not do it on top for ease of execution, like the most natural for me was to hold down the side. So I do cross on left.
It's like a Caltech,
and everything is
old
ours
Caltech only sort of thing.
And you can't adjust that? You can't set to be bottom now?
I've tried doing cross on bottom. It's just mostly a muscle memory thing because cross on bottom involves more left hand turning. And I'm just used to like doing most of my turns on my right hand. So like my left hand is dumb. So kind of slow across on bottom.
Part of it is that
Oh,
we just don't have
interesting.
time to put in 12 hours of practice.
Yeah. But also, I like having a unique solving style. I haven't put a lot of effort into changing it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we
Yeah.
are slow and
To
unconventional.
what modern standards are.
Yes, exactly. Like I turn really slowly. Like I don't have the TPS that most people have, but I've been told that when I solve it, looks like I'm like playing with water in my hands, which is, I think, interesting. But I like that.
Yeah, I get that too. Because like we learned on those old Rubik's cubes, we didn't have these really good cubes out of the box that you get from China now. We learned how to turn smoothly because that's how you had to do it if you didn't want your cube to jam
Yep.
up.
Interesting. And now what's next for the both of you?
Shelley, what do you do in your real life?
I work at a medium-sized pharmaceutical company in the Bay Area, and overall it's going well. So I'm probably going to be there for the foreseeable future.
What is your role?
I work on early stage development, so getting a molecule from discovery to making it into a actual drug product that can be marketed and that works. It's mostly oncology, so our company does have one drug on the market, and we're working on a second one, which working on bringing the second one to market, and that's the one I've been doing most of my work on for the last few years.
Basically, Shelley is saving lives.
It's funny because, like, when I was in my 20s and I was uploading videos of solving to YouTube, there were a bunch of people who would be like, "Oh, what a waste of brain power. Why aren't you out curing cancer?" That's my day job now. So
I can hear Shelley
Things
playing with
have
the cube.
changed. Oh.
Since you were asking, do we play with cubes right now? I can hear Shelley playing with the cube.
I had one on my
It's
desk.
okay. I've been playing with one too.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
And then I guess things are different because, parents around me are like, wow, so he does that instead of brain rot on screen. And I'm like, no, he still does those things. He enjoys this too.
Mhm.
Okay, Vincent, what's next for you?
I just started working on a legal tech AI company. I'm doing courtroom simulations to help lawyers make better arguments when they walk into the courtroom. So that's pretty much occupied my life the last few months, and it probably will occupy my life in the foreseeable future. We just came back from a month-long intensive in Oregon with our accelerator to accelerate our company. And yeah, if any of that sounds interesting to you, if you're lawyers who want to talk more about AI and legal tech, I'm happy to talk to them. We are also hiring at least one engineer, if not more. So if that's something that interests you, please come talk to me. As for what's next for Cubing USA, I think we are always recruiting more people. Both the Cubing USA board and kind of the organization teams are both actively looking for more people. So if you saw what we did, you liked that, and you want to help out, we are happily taking interest in and seeing how we can have more people in the community help us out to put on even better competitions in the future. So feel free to reach out to Tim Reynolds or Shelley, who's in charge of all
Or
of us.
just email info@cubingusa.org.
Yeah, we will all see it.
That emails all of us and we all see it.
Okay, I'm just making note of that. info@cubingusa.org.
Yeah. One of the things we'd like to do is be able to better support local competitions and the regional competition organizations. We've been unable to do that quite to the level we'd like to so far just because we don't have enough people. And so if that's something you would like to do, please come talk to us.
Again, at info@cubingusa.org.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to be on the podcast? Have you been on a podcast before?
Nope.
Not this time. I listen to a lot of podcasts, though.
Joanne, what do you think would be good to include?
I think you've given a ton of historical knowledge that I wasn't anticipating.
Mhm.
I didn't know that you knew or have lived through.
We can do another one just on historical knowledge too someday, if that's something that interests you and your audience.
That's part of why I was asking that other question, because I'm like, not exactly like the Netflix Speedcubers documentary, but something that is beyond the about page, that shows the characters and the stories and the key figures who, like you say, Tyson's not around anymore, but Tyson's a co-founder of WCA.
You think we could grab Tyson for one of these?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I wish there was something more too, because all the early history is mostly like living in our head.
True.
That's
as
what I
memories.
mean.
Yeah.
That's part of why I'm doing these, because this is just us talking about worlds, but like in the year 2045, when it's 20 years ago.
Oh, we can talk about mystery
these-
puzzles. I wish we had more mystery puzzles.
What's a mystery puzzle?
This basically came out of like when we used to plan competitions, they were much less well organized. And so like in between rounds, for example, there'd be like 5 to 10 minutes of downtime. And so we would just come up with like really silly things that we had just seen or found, like toys or games or whatever, and just make people do them. As long as it was stack matable and it might be fun to watch, we would do it.
So the idea is you have no idea what's going on. There's just a cover on a timer. And then you start the timer, lift off the cover, and then you do whatever the mystery puzzle has you do.
How do you know how to solve it?
That's part of the fun.
It's part of the fun. It could be anything. So one funny story was I don't remember who was involved or when it was, but we just put like bananas under covers at a bunch of stations. So people started the timer, they saw a banana, so okay, I'm supposed to peel and eat it. But one person just stopped the timer and said, it's all yellow, it's all solved.
Yeah, I remember I did a mystery puzzle, which was like underneath the cover was just like a cup of boba. And so the first challenge was to eat all the pearls while leaving as much liquid into the cup as possible.
Oh, I remember that one.
And then people were ingenious. And so they just started, sorry, this is going to be a little gross. You can edit this out if you want. They would drink the boba, they would leave the liquid in their mouth and they'd backwash it back in. And so two people ended up tying because they both had like full amounts of liquid in their cup. So we did a tiebreak where they just chugged the rest of the boba as fast as they could.
So now you're going to have people applying to help with Cubing USA to be part of the mystery puzzle.
I mean, I would be so for that.
Wait.
I hope every major competition has at least one mystery puzzle moving forward.
If it's boba, like how many of these do you need
Like
for all the people who put up their hand to
I mean, you
volunteer?
just have, so I think we just had 5 bobas. So we just did 5 people. And we just said mystery puzzle, first 5 people, come up.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be hard.
Yeah. I think part of this
You're
goes...
gonna get
one of the funny ones is there's these 2 guys up on the timer. They uncover it. It's just a piece of paper that says, ask a girl out on a date. And they just stood there staring at each other for like a minute.
This was on Valentine's Day, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will fly now.
Also, Shelley was the only girl in the room.
I was going to say, like, you're assuming they're heterosexual. You're assuming a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
Also, there's nothing in the puzzle that said they had to say yes. You just have to ask.
Yeah, I think you'd still get in trouble or something nowadays with that.
Yeah, that was like stuff that we did because we were all friends and everything. We don't do it at these competitions anymore. A lot of people we don't know, and we don't know if they'll get offended by stuff like that.
There was another one where I think Tyson brought in like this like machine that everybody would hold it and it would shock a random person. Like it was just like really silly things like that.
Yeah.
This is part of like, the earlier culture of like when things were a little bit less formal.
Yes, but still nerdy.
Yes. Or I think they played Hungry Hippos once. That was the mystery puzzle.
How do you fit that under a cube cover?
Oh, sometimes it's just like a cardboard piece that you just put over it. You get really creative. We didn't used to have cube covers. We just used paper and like any other thing we could find.
That's true.
Yeah. As long as it's stack matable, it could be a mystery puzzle.
When you've got all these young kids coming in, they're just coming into the YouTube world, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know all of this. And it took a lot to get here. It took a lot to get to Worlds and 2,000 competitors.
Some of the unofficial events we now have came out of mystery puzzles. Like Team Blind, I think, was originally a mystery puzzle.
And some of the events came out of being unofficial events too, right?
Like Scube. And Magic is no longer an event. Neither is Speed. But
Magic and Master Magic were official events that became unofficial events 10 years later.
And I'm going to end the interview portion of the episode there. Shelley and Vincent and I had a long, long conversation. We chatted about all sorts of things, brainstorming, sharing opinions, and yes, me going on and on quite a bit, as my children would say, Mama's yapping again. However, I know it was, like Vincent said, a logistical nightmare, reworking the layout so that it can accommodate this increased number of spectators. When I picture in my mind what it would have been like with the original plan and the side stages area being the main stage and then the registration room being the side stages, for me, and I am not qualified to be any sort of expert in major events, but I like the layout they had much better than the layout that was planned. Again, if you have a question or you're interested in volunteering with Cubing USA, please send them an email, info@cubingusa.org. That's info@cubingusa.org. Thank you again to all the members of the organizing team for volunteering so much time and effort and energy into the Rubik's World Championship 2025. The photo that Shelley was referring to earlier in the episode is up on my Instagram. You can take a look at Cube Mom Official on Instagram. That's Cube Mom Official. While you're online, after you take a look at the photo on my Instagram, head over to the WCA YouTube channel. Katie Hinkley has created a very beautiful highlight reel from Worlds. I'm linking to it in the show notes of this episode as well. Thank you for listening to Speedcubing 101 today. If you have any questions, suggestions, or corrections, please email me, cubemomofficial@gmail.com. That's cubemomofficial@gmail.com. My hope is that the 4th installment of my World series will be published before the end of this year. The interview's already been recorded a while ago. Thank you again for listening today. Happy cubing and go Cubers go.